Hi, I'm Maya Galimidi. I'm the founder of Empower with Nature, and Empower with Nature is a team of people from 10 different countries. We do transdisciplinary education projects in Africa, Europe, and US. And we're here today in US together with the Regenerative School and doing higher education programs.
Hi, I'm Ashlei Laing, co-founder and director of the Regenerative School. We're a micro-university, a 501c3 nonprofit. We are at the crux of social and environmental justice. We are looking to build holistic education in a new way for higher ed. And in that process, we're looking at cultivating space for the inner and outer landscapes, kind of the inner landscape being ourselves, and then moving out into spaces like community and nature. And we've really enjoyed partnerships with Empowered Nature and Maya since 2014, I think. And so we're here together post-pandemic and have been asked to do this podcast and answer some pretty big questions.
Yes. And I think, Ashley, the next question is what is goodness and how we can pass the goodness on.
So I'll let you start.
Okay. I think goodness is something that comes inside, and it is something that how we want to do something to help, to create. It's like the kindness, it's the compassion that we wanted to pass on. But the end of it, I think it is very uncertain. Sometimes we try to do things for the name of goodness, but it might not end up like that. So it is all in the cultural context, geographical context of things. For me, that's how it is. And to pass it on, I think it's a very internal thing about willingness to share it. But also, I think as this podcast is also a way of actually spreading that, I think it is also once we experience it, then probably it is something we would like to share it too.
So I think on the note of sharing and weaving that together, and also speaking personally and for Ree is in a space of cultivating transformative learning for a more just, peaceful, and sustainable world. And if I bring goodness into that question, I think of things like meeting people's needs, basic needs, and then regenerating beyond that so that people and places and planet can be in a goodness of abundance and peace. And I think, starting on the inner landscape and then moving into the outer landscape with this feels like a whole lot of goodness.
Maybe we should say a few words about that, like about what is inner landscape, and then I could explain about connection with nature.
Sure. So inner landscape at we've also referred to sometimes in our peace building efforts as inner peace work, and in community development, and especially after post-pandemic life and the post-social justice reckoning in the US, I think a lot of activists and movement folks and just people in general, facilitators, people, in community with many folks, has started to understand that there's some inner work that a lot of us could benefit from being supported in, or having time and space to be with. And that's just kind of getting to know ourselves as a safe, brave place is something to always come home to and have kind of inner resource. And then in the strength and development of that, I think it brings a person into community and into the environment in a more aware and grounded way that I think calls in goodness again.
Yeah, and I think like to accompany that would be like connecting with nature. Like once you have that nourishing space in you, then how the goodness is also how to all the beings, how you connect with nature for the land, for the waters, for the skies, and nourishing all the beings, I think. I think there is a question that Bessie was asking to us was what we think about the connection between science and spirituality, if there is a connection or disconnection. That's another big.
Would you like to start that one?
That's another big question about the connection between science and spirituality. I think the connection between science and spirituality is when we looked at the scientists before in the history, they were all trying to understand the patterns of nature, how to actually solve the creation, the formulas of the creation, if it is according to different beliefs, the creation, the God, or how was the order. And I think that also goes with spirituality, because it comes from the cycles of the nature, the rhythm of the nature, how we connect the light, the land, the water, the wind. It all creates our environments, affects the designs that we do, affects the creations we do, the formulas behind them, the mathematics and geometry behind them. And also it comes to the cycles of nature, the beliefs, the festivals. So I think that's why they're all connected in a very beautiful way. What do you think?
So many things to weave off of there, weave with Maya. Science and spirituality. I think I also related into the religious space a little bit of RE is a hyper local and a global organization. We've been privileged enough to be invited into communities all over the globe, and some of those communities invite us into those spiritual and religious places. And thinking of places like India, where you have some Islamic religious, just thinking about the architecture there, and then the Hindu architecture, and you see the patterns of geometry and mathematics, and that relates to me as kind of science. And then you see the Hindu architecture that brings in a lot of natural flowers and plants and animals, and again, that kind of speaks to nature. And I kind of see that interweaving. We were just in Boston and in the reflection pond of the Christian Science Center. So I think some of these weave together of, sacred mathematics and sacred patterning in nature, and then that kind of touching into religion and or spirituality. And I think they weave together. And to me, the connection pieces is nature and the science of the cycles, like in the nature, in the plants and the animals, and then how that kind of translates into the meta and kind of encompasses us all, if that's a fluid thought process that can be followed there. But that's a great question, and I mean in a 2-second snapshot, I think there's so many overlapping elements of even just ancient cultures before religious organization, and how nature, science, spirituality kind of all weave together, from the stars to the flowers to our beings and cells.
Okay, so the last question that we got from Bessie is actually what we think about climate change, environmental issues, and what are our thoughts about that. So I think it's a huge question, and it is something that both our organizations are core issue that we're working on. But regarding to empower with nature and climate change, I think we're looking on the side that what can we bring. It's a huge time that we need everyone's their way of looking at things, their talents, and how we can use it to actually create things. So I believe it's a very inspirational and creative time, and that's why we do different projects with women, with youth, and here we are for the higher education. Yes, certainly it is worrying for everyone, and which brings a very psychological part too. But I think we have to focus on what we can do and how we can be the part of the solution.
So all of that and more, or just embellishing that a little bit. I think with RE in the higher education and community development and peace building and inner landscape space, I think there's a big moment to say, work with what you've got. be in community. We can do this together. Many hands make light work. What's another catchphrase? Some of these really complex problems have really simple solutions if we all might find that inner landscape space to slow down and kind of take a look around at what, you know, maybe it does feel like this huge catastrophic problem that we're facing, but that maybe the earth has some solutions already there that we could just be a little bit more aware of and in touch with, and maybe leaning into spaces of indigenous wisdom if it's ready or able or willing to hold that space within for everyone. And I think all of what you said, Maya.
And how we can actually do it all together.